Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up in our news tonight. The Commissioner of Police defends a recent viral video. We have the latest from Tokyo 2020. The president of the CPSA recommends that the government revisit a few restrictions, plus the Grand Bahama Port Authority denying approval of that beetle-infested cargo. Welcome to our News Weekend, and thanks for joining us. I'm Georgie O'Bain, topping news tonight. The police commissioner is coming to the defense of his officer after a video went viral with officers forcefully arresting a man. Our Bethany McDermott has the details.
Police Commissioner Paul ROLLE defending law enforcement officers after this video with 3 officers arresting a man in what appeared to be a traffic stop went viral. In the video, the man who appeared to be talking on his cell phone walked around to the driver's side of the car. That's when things took a turn. According to the police chief, force used by the officers was justified.
I saw a video, I believe that was in Bimini, and I don't know what you mean by aggressive. The officers follow procedures. When we use force, we take action against the officers. And what you saw on that video was the officers giving instructions and the young man refusing to comply, but yet still the officer used, which I thought was reasonable force as provided in law.
As the video continued, it took all 3 officers to get the man inside the police car. ROLLE says the incident occurred on Bimini. He added the man was supposed to be in quarantine and the necessary action was taken.
But we had a few. That was in Bimini during the lockdown, and persons were, I think, taking advantage of the fact that we couldn't get them to court in time.
Last year, ROLLE said he was addressing concerns of police brutality within the force by implementing new policies. He also stressed the need for civilians to cooperate with police officers.
When the police give you orders, just follow the orders. And, if the police does something wrong, there's a way for that. But not to challenge the police when they're trying to enforce the laws.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
While competition continuing to heat up at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, our Marcellus Hall has all the latest highlights.
Welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Kind of quiet here in the main press center. That's because day 9 has come to a close, but it was a hot day as we got underway with day 9 with lots of track and field activities. Team Bahamas getting onto the arena and seeing how Stephen Gardner and Devin Charlton all looking to move forward in their respective events. Let's take a look. Men's 400-meter heats underway in day 9. Bahamas with quarter milers Alonzo Russell and Stephen Gardner in action. Russell up first in heat 1. He would run an excellent race, posting a 5th place finish in 45.51 seconds.
I came in with, so I'm kind of excited about that. Earlier, a few weeks ago, I felt like pretty tired, like through the season, but now I feel like, I find like the drive and everything, like kind of back up until from Olympic trials to the Olympics. So I feeling pretty good, I'm just hopeful that I get into the next round. I feel like I will, but we'll see.
Defending world champion Stephen Gardner would get his chance in heat 5. Gardner, running out of lane 1, looked comfortable for the entire race, cruising to the finish line to win the heat in 45.05 seconds.
It was so hot outside there today, but I managed to hold it together, took control of the race and make sure I was clear and then just shut it down, bring it home. I think I had the slowest heat of all the heats. I slowed it down, but it's okay because we have to save for tomorrow. It's good. 2 people in the semi is better than, 1 man out there. The country got multiple people to cheer for now.
Away from the action on the track, but still at the track, NACAC President Mike Sands making the presentation for the women's 100 meters, presenting to Jamaica's gold, silver, and bronze medal winners in last night's 100-meter final. And back to the action as hurdler Devin Charlton looking to book a spot in the finals of the women's 100-meter hurdles. Charlton in heat 1, able to come on strong down the stretch, finishing 2nd in 12.62, advancing to the final in the process. Patricia Seymour would take the track next in heat 2. She too looking to move into the final, but unfortunately this time unable to make it happen as she runs a 13:09, finishing 8th and bowing out of the competition in the process. So day 9 comes to a close. Congratulations to Devin Charlton for advancing in the women's 100-meter final. And we'll also see how, of course, Stephen Gardner and Alonzo Russell continue their progress in the men's 4. Tomorrow, another exciting day as the women's 200 rounds get underway. Shawnee Miller-Weibo will take her chance in moving on into round number 2. That's all ahead. Of course, we'll have it for you right here from Tokyo. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you.
Continue to cheer on our Bahamian athletes with live coverage from Tokyo on Rev Channel 212, 243, and 244. Also check out the RTV Facebook page for the latest updates. Well, relaxed COVID-19 protocols at major hotels should be revisited. That's according to Consultant Physician Staff Association President Dr. SABRIQUET BUTLER, who says the government should take another look at how to best protect Bahamians and visitors.
I think sometimes as Bahamians, and may not be our fault because we're seeing that the country is reopening, we're encouraging people to come, we're seeing restrictions not necessarily falling in line with persons who are at the hotels. So is it that our locals will not be at the hotels? Our locals are at the hotels. Our locals work there. So we are still, again, not necessarily looking at the whole picture, and I think that our government needs to do that. It needs to engage the appropriate healthcare persons.
With new variants nearing home, PINDER BUTLER says it's time to tighten up testing requirements for travelers entering the Bahamas, vaccinated or not.
Continue to promote measures that have been shown to work. Social distancing, washing your hands, wearing your mask for all people. Persons who want to get vaccinated, when the vaccines become available, avail yourself to the vaccination. Those things are critical things, along with increasing our efforts with testing for all people that come into this country, because as you said, we have opened up our borders. We knew that once our borders were open and we knew that variants were happening in other countries, the likelihood of us having them here was certainly inevitable.
And as the Emancipation Day holiday approaches, BUTLER cautions residents against gathering in large crowds.
Measures as it relates to restrictions that have come into play now, certainly we know that, it may help to contain certain things so that our healthcare system can try to get a handle on the cases that we already have, because bear in mind, we're beyond capacity. So we really need the help to try to settle that so that we don't have a collapse. Should we have done this sometime back? Perhaps, but I think at the end of the day, we have to try to do something and continue to go forward. But all of us have to play our part. All of us have to be mindful of the groups that we should not perhaps be participating in.
In other news, the Grand Bahama Port Authority is refuting claims that it was aware of or granted approval for the offloading of cargo reportedly infested with beetles. On Thursday, reports of a vessel which was prevented from offloading at a port in New Orleans made port and offloaded its beetle-infested cargo in Freeport. By the time officials in Freeport were made aware of the infestation, the cargo was already on the island. According to the statement issued by the Grand Bahama Port Authority, once it was made aware of the vessel's arrival, the Environmental Department contacted the relevant entities involved to assist in the proper mitigation. The Grand Bahama Port Authority says that its Environmental Department is monitoring and assisting with the investigation into this matter. Well, environmentalist Joe Darville calling for more to be done to protect Grand Bahama's environment after a cargo ship carrying invasive beetles that destroy crops docked on the island last week, and the deaths of 3 men believed to be the result of fume inhalation. He says lives and livelihoods are at stake.
I think at this particular point in time, immediately after the death of 3 men here in Freeport, this is a critical issue. And how many signs do we have to be given to say to us here in Grand Bahama, at the Grand Bahama Port Authority, and to the government agencies, we have to be more careful about how we handle people and poisonous materials, etc. And I have a tremendous amount of experience, having worked in the industrial area, in school as a teacher for so many years. And at this date, one class of mine in one class, 12 had predeceased me, and 10 of them have died of cancer related to industrial pollution.
The Minnesota administration passed an Environmental Protection Act in 2019 that would hold businesses and organizations accountable for activities that damage the environment. However, Darville says there is much more that can be done, particularly on Grand Bahama.
We have to create a whole panorama of instruction for both industries and individuals who are going to realize that, you know, our people have to be treated with the same respect as we would be treated elsewhere, or as people in foreign countries are treated. So those are the things we have to look at it in a whole umbrella, comprehensively, to make sure that our environment, which includes our people, our animals, our plants, everything is treated with due respect.
Well, still to come on our News Weekend, the Education Minister discusses any possible delays in schools reopening, plus some good financial news on the way for the country's second city. We have the details when our News Weekend returns.
Great True Bahamian Treasure Hunt is here, where you can win great vacation prize packages to hotels throughout the Bahamas. Watch Our TV on weeknights between 6 and 11 p.m. for your 10 True Bahamian clues. Take note of your answers and clues. You never know, you might see the same clue twice. Follow Our TV Originals on Facebook to submit your correct answers before 11 a.m. every Saturday. Watch Our News Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. to see if you are the weekly winner. If you didn't win, watch for clues next week, because the contest runs all summer long. Go to Our TV Originals Facebook page for more information and contest details.
You're watching our news. Welcome back. Despite the many obstacles brought on by the pandemic, Education Minister Jeffrey Lloyd says he is confident that the reopening of schools will not be delayed in September.
One size doesn't fit all. So, for instance, what may happen or what may be appropriate in Auckland, Maguana, or South Andros may not necessarily apply for Grand Bahama or Abaco because of the sizes of the population. Even in COVID, you remember those schools were face-to-face, and the others were, in some instances, virtual or hybrid. Right now, the summer program we are doing with the respect for the COVID realities and, of course, the prescriptions by the health authorities. So they're going to determine what is best for us at the time, but we're ready for anything. And our teachers are right now in training for whatever it is that we have to do come September.
Lloyd says school repairs will be complete in time for the new school year. Thousands of students have had to enroll in the ministry's summer enhancement program as a result of setbacks in the last school year.
Every week there has been an increase in the number of students that are taking the courses, and they're essentially basics, the literacy and the numeracy, because, as you know, that's the foundation. And we, of course, emphasize especially the primary school levels, because, I mean, if it doesn't get there, it's going to really be tough for them going forward.
COVID cases were reported in some schools last term, but Lloyd says that the good news is that more teachers are interested in getting vaccinated.
I understand that there's an increased interest, and that as soon as more vaccines are available, they are going to avail themselves of it. I've been vaccinated now for a couple of months. I'm happy to have done so, encouraging everybody to get vaccinated. As the Prime Minister said, as the scientists have said, this is the ticket to social and economic freedom, and I certainly want to be free socially and economically.
Well, big developments ahead for the city of Freeport as AML Foods announces plans to purchase the former Winn-Dixie building. Minister of State for Finance, Kwesi Thompson, says that it's an economic boost that Freeport needs.
It really speaks to the fact that the future of the downtown area looks extremely bright and extremely promising. It will provide the much needed foot traffic to that downtown area. It will breathe life back into the downtown area, which is something that we are looking forward to. It will provide immediate construction jobs for persons in Grand Bahama.
According to Thompson, it falls in line with the government's plan to revitalize the downtown area.
The government has been focused on revitalizing the downtown area, first by renovating the Garnet Lavarity Justice Center, second by renovating the post office, which is under renovations now, also by ensuring that we brought back up, which we have completed the first phase of the Rand Memorial Hospital as well, and we renovated the Ministry of Agriculture building and provided additional vendors at the Ministry of Agriculture building.
According to Thompson, there are several other announcements in the pipeline.
We also understand that the University of the Bahamas, they are also working on plans to move into their a downtown location. And again, that tremendously will provide more economic activity, more foot traffic. And so the future for the downtown area of Grand Bahama is extremely bright. We are looking forward to it. We believe that it is really overdue.
Well, as COVID-19 cases in the country continue to climb and hospitalization numbers overwhelm the healthcare system, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis has asked employers to allow employees to work from home where possible. But some are asking, how are the rights of employees being protected while working remotely? Well, National Tripartite Counsel Robert Farquharson says this.
When you work from your employer's work, the employer is responsible for providing water, electricity, food. Who does that when you're home? You, eh? If you're injured while you're at work, the National Insurance Act makes provisions for industrial injury. Is the same provision being if you're working from home? What happens if you get injured at home? Would the National Insurance Act cover that as an industrial injury? You have to ask these questions.
Farquharson says work from home policies are being developed and they are open to some reasonable recommendations.
COVID-19 has been new to everybody in the Bahamas and indeed around the world. This issue of working from home is a policy that's been developed on a daily basis. And there is no law that specifically speaks to home working or home partying. Eh? So it's a developing situation. I want to encourage workers who are not unionized to sit down with their employers and come up with reasonable recommendations.
According to Farquharson, the NTC is developing policies and guidelines to propose to the government in the near future.
I'm confident that the National Tripartite Council will develop new policies and guidelines to operate in a COVID-19 environment. And we want to, in the very near future, hopefully come up with some recommendations for the government and employers to consider how to operate more effectively in the COVID-19 environment.
When our news weekend comes back from the break, we take a closer look at the number of women running on the PLP's ticket and how a creator of a television show is giving back to the community. Well, we have the details when our news returns.
Every new season of On the Record, we push the limits. Venture into unknown territory. We take our cameras into places unseen before. We share the stories and experiences that affect us all. And now it's time for Season 5. On the Record, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on RTV Cable Channel 212 and streaming live on Facebook on the R News Bahamas page.
Only 7 women appear on the Progressive Liberal Party's slate of candidates for the next general election. It's a far cry from the PLP's early pledge to offer 50% women on their ticket. Now the PLP leader, Philip Davis, is defending the party's candidates.
We are satisfied, but we'll continually press to have women involved in the governance of this country. The fact that they are not candidates does not necessarily follow that they will not be part of governance.
Despite the handful of women being offered, Davis says that doesn't mean that they will be the only women representatives if the PLP secures the next general election.
There's another mechanism that I will be able to engage to ensure that women is well represented at the parliamentary level. That's through the Senate, and you'll see that at the appropriate time.
Davis says that he is confident in his party's candidates.
There are men and women who have had a history of service in their lifetimes. You'll find that amongst them, persons who have been in the community, working outside of politics, just helping people. That's the difference, right? And they have persons, they are committed to their country, who understand the hurt and pain of their people and are willing to come to their rescue.
Host of our TV show Journey TV, Earlene Cartwright, has embarked on an initiative to give back to those organizations who spend their time and energy giving back to the community. The show recently concluded its second season, and now is the perfect time to highlight some of the season's most memorable guests.
Journey TV is actually a local talk show that is currently aired on RTV. We share the life stories of everyday people who are overcomers, and we share these stories to bring healing to the community, to encourage healing to the community. We also feature nonprofits and local heroes who are giving back to the community in big ways. So each season we actually give back to those nonprofits. This season we feature 12 of them, and today this is our first phase of that give back, and we are giving back to Teen Challenge today, to Home to School, and to Teen Life Skills.
Executive Director of Teen Challenge Bahamas, Eric Fox, says that he is grateful for the assistance of Journey TV.
We are truly thankful, and we are most grateful for this contribution to the work that we do. Teen Challenge is not an event, it's an ongoing variety of different programs to help the young men in the community. We do stuff like outreach, where we go and we feed them on the streets. We bring barbers in to cut their hair. We get them slippers. All of this is in our effort to get them to come and join our program. So we are most grateful for the platform Journey TV has given Teen Challenge to put us out there. So
Executive Director of Teen Life Skilled Services, Felicia Carey, thanks Cartwright for providing an avenue to spread the word for her organization designed at helping teens facing hardships.
Journey TV has been a platform that gives the small person like me, who nobody knows, the courage to be able to share our stories and share what we're doing. And I find it so uplifting, and I'm so appreciative that Journey TV has allowed us to come and share what we're doing, to let others know that there are avenues, services, and there are persons who actually care about the needs of young mothers and women out there. So it's a humbling experience, and I'm so appreciative to Journey TV for allowing us to be able to come on and share what we do.
Well, Journey TV returns with Season 3 in October. But when our News Weekend edition comes back from the break, we'll tell you who said what in this week's Quote of the Week. Stay with us.
Every new season of On the Record, we push the limits. Venture into unknown territory. We take our cameras into places unseen before. We share the stories and experiences that affect us all. And now it's time for Season 5. On the Record, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on RTV Cable Channel 212 and streaming live on Facebook on the R News Bahamas page.
Well, it's that time of the week when we highlight some of the most memorable moments in this week's newscast. First up, irate employees of the Department of Social Services walked off the job this week as they called on the government to pay their money that they say is owed to them.
Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Minister of Social Services, you're listening? I want my daughter to go to college. I need a house. I'm tired of paying rent. I'm tired of robbing Peter to pay Paul. Give me what I work for.
When Perry Christie retired, when Ingram retired, when all of them retired, they was able to get their money. Why in the world that we have to wait so long as Bahamians when we don't put in 25 years? We have to wait almost 2 years to get our money?
It is enough. We are not going to stand up and stand back and allow other departments, other governmental agencies receive something, and yet we do not get anything from the team.
Well, this sad moment came one day after the shocking discovery of the bodies of 3 men on Grand Bahama who are believed to have passed away as a result of an industrial accident.
They say, you ain't hear what happened to your cousin? I say, what happened? Say, you ain't hear David die? I say, how he died? Then that shocked me. That shocked me. That really shocked me. I ain't nothing till now. I ain't nothing yet. David is a hero. He's telling me David died as a hero. I say, how? He died as a hero. He said, the first man going in, after they don't see him, David going. David, after they don't see David, the supervisors are going behind David. The 3 of them died.
And the third quote comes from Progressive Liberal Party Deputy Leader Chester Cooper, who hit out at new COVID-19 health restrictions.
Forget running the country, forget being prime minister, forget being a physician. What he is now looking to do is try to win an election. Everything you see now, you have to remember that this is silly season. This is election time. And I think at this stage, the Bahamian people trust very little of what he says.
Did we miss one? Leave a comment on the R News Facebook page to tell us your favorite quote of the week. Well, thank you so much for joining us for R News Weekend Edition. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Georgia O'Bain. Have a safe evening, Bahamas.